Welcome to my channel, Modern Stoic. Before we go any further, I need you to pause for just a second because what I'm about to say may hit you harder than you expect. There are moments in a man's life when he reveals something to a woman. Sometimes one sentence, one confession, one tiny truth, and from that moment on, the way she looks at him changes forever. Not because she's cruel, not because she's manipulative, but because you crossed an invisible emotional line you never even knew existed. And once it's crossed, it can never be undone. If you've ever felt a woman pull away and you couldn't explain why, if you've ever watched her energy shift from warmth to distance, if she suddenly stopped texting the way she used to, or her eyes no longer softened when she looked at you, this video is your wake-up call. These are the secrets you should never ever tell a woman, because even the strongest attraction can collapse under the wrong emotional weight. And before we dive deep into these truths, most men will never hear from anyone in their real life. Do me one favor, hit that subscribe button and like this video. It helps more men finally understand the psychology behind what makes women stay, what makes them leave, and what makes them lose respect without ever explaining why. Now, let's talk about the first truth. There are certain confessions that feel harmless to you, but to a woman, they change your entire emotional frame. When a man reveals insecurity in the wrong way, or vulnerability without grounding or secrets that make him seem dependent on her validation, something primal in her shifts. Women don't consciously decide it. It's not a calculated act, it's instinctive, it's psychological, it's subconscious. You must understand something. Women don't lose attraction suddenly. It erodes. It slips quietly like sand running through your fingers. And often it begins with a man telling her a secret he thought would make her feel closer, but instead made her feel less safe, less led, less emotionally anchored. These 5 secrets we're about to explore are relationship killers. They're intimacy killers. They're attraction killers. And most importantly, they are completely avoidable once you understand why they trigger emotional withdrawal in almost every woman, no matter her age or culture. Because the truth is simple. Women fall in love emotionally, but they fall out of love logically. And these secrets give her the logic she needs to justify walking away. Let's start with the first secret. You should never ever reveal your complete financial insecurities. Men think sharing money struggles shows honesty. They think it builds intimacy. But here's the hard truth. Women are wired to feel safety in a partner, not pity. When you confess that you're drowning in debt or that you can't handle basic bills, what she hears subconsciously is, I cannot protect myself, and maybe I cannot protect you. Attraction doesn't grow from pity. It shrinks. The mind immediately starts running scenarios of risk and uncertainty, and your emotional frame begins to crumble in her eyes. Secret number 2 is far more subtle but equally destructive. Confessing past emotional trauma in a way that makes her feel responsible. Sharing your past is fine, but when it drifts into a space where she feels she needs to fix you, attraction dies slowly. Women want a partner who can carry his own emotional weight, who can navigate life without leaning on her for validation or stability constantly. When a man offloads trauma as a burden, rather than showing growth or insight, it triggers a subconscious alarm. She senses imbalance, and imbalance is unattractive. She doesn't consciously decide to pull away, but her subconscious mind begins the silent countdown to detachment. The third secret is even trickier. Admitting doubts about your feelings for her too soon. Men often believe honesty is the fastest route to closeness. But when you verbalize uncertainty, I'm not sure if I'm ready, or I don't know if I really feel it, what she hears is instability. Emotional stability is magnetic. Doubt erodes that magnetism. Even if your heart is genuine, voicing your uncertainties before trust and security are fully established creates a perception that she is expendable. Women might stay physically close, but mentally they start building walls. Secret number 4. Your past failures with other women in intimate or emotional ways. Men often share this to appear honest or relatable, but it's a trap. Women interpret it as a blueprint for how your relationship might fail. Attraction is fragile, trust is earned slowly. Highlighting your past missteps in love or intimacy, no matter how small, can plant seeds of skepticism. She starts wondering consciously or unconsciously if history will repeat itself, and the attraction that was building can start to dissolve without warning. Secret 5 is the one that kills most relationships silently, revealing every thought about your insecurities regarding her body, her attractiveness, or her social appeal. Men think sharing their fears will bond them, but women instinctively sense judgment and doubt. Even when masked as insecurity, it feels like critique, not confession. Once a woman senses this, her emotional connection retracts. She may smile, nod, or pretend to understand, but deep down she begins questioning if she can ever feel fully desired. Now that you understand the 5 secrets that can destroy attraction, let's dive into the psychology behind why these confessions hit so hard and why most men never see it coming. Here's the reality. Women are emotional architects. They are constantly analyzing, constructing, and testing the emotional landscape of their relationships. Every word you say, every story you tell, every vulnerability you reveal is measured against an invisible standard of safety, stability, and desirability. You don't even realize it, but they're asking themselves one constant question. Can I invest emotionally in this man, or is it too risky? When you spill secrets like financial insecurity or emotional dependence too early, you are handing her evidence that you might not pass that test. It's not cruelty, it's biology. Women are wired to evaluate potential long-term partners on cues that signal protection, stability, and emotional strength. You might think that being transparent is a shortcut to intimacy, but the truth is, intimacy grows only when the emotional frame you project is strong, secure, and unshakable. Share the wrong kind of truth too soon, and instead of drawing her closer, you trigger the part of her mind that evaluates danger. And here's something few men understand. Women never forget how a man makes them feel. When you reveal too much too soon, it plants tiny, almost invisible doubts. She doesn't consciously analyze it immediately, but her subconscious mind stores every moment. That doubt grows silently, creating distance over time. Attraction doesn't vanish in an instant. It erodes like a cliff, slowly washed by waves. You see her withdrawing, and you wonder what went wrong, but by then the damage is already done. There's also a subtle truth about trust that most men miss. Women want honesty, but they also crave discernment. Not all truths are equal. Sharing your inner world must be done with care, timing, and control. If you give away your vulnerabilities indiscriminately, you lose leverage. Not in a manipulative way, but in the way life naturally rewards emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is not just about understanding her, it's about understanding yourself, your timing, and how your disclosures shape the emotional architecture of attraction. And one last point before we move deeper, attraction is as much about what you don't say as what you do. The secrets we discussed aren't inherently dangerous. It's the context, the timing, and the way they're revealed that determines whether they draw her in or push her away. Master this balance, and you can build deeper, more magnetic connections with women without ever triggering the silent alarms that make them retreat. Let's get even sharper. Now that you understand why certain secrets destroy attraction, it's time to explore how a man can maintain control of his emotional frame and why that frame is the single most powerful tool in any relationship. Think of it like this. Your frame is the emotional gravity you carry. Women are instinctively drawn to strong, stable energy because it signals protection, leadership, and emotional safety. The moment you reveal secrets that undermine that energy, your gravity weakens and attraction slips away. Here's the key. Vulnerability is magnetic when it's balanced with strength, but destructive when it feels like a surrender. A man who can share a struggle while demonstrating resilience doesn't lose attraction. He enhances it. But most men confuse honesty with exposure. They dump their fears, insecurities, or doubts without showing that they can handle them. And women sense it immediately. This isn't manipulation. It's evolutionary wiring. Your emotional frame communicates more about you than words ever could. Now, here's a truth most men never hear: silence is often stronger than confession. You don't need to verbalize every thought or emotion. In fact, the most magnetic men are the ones who allow their strength to show quietly, subtly, without turning every moment into a therapy session. You can be emotionally deep without being emotionally indiscriminate. That's the difference between men who inspire devotion and men who inadvertently push women away. Timing is everything. Revealing a secret at the wrong stage of intimacy can trigger withdrawal, but revealing the same truth after attraction is fully established, can deepen connection. Women are highly attuned to signals of strength versus weakness. They measure not just what you say, but how you carry yourself while saying it. A man who confesses weakness while remaining grounded in purpose, confidence, and humor doesn't lose respect. He earns admiration. And here's another subtle secret: not all truths need words. Actions, consistency, and quiet confidence communicate far more than constant self disclosure. A woman's attraction thrives when she perceives a man as emotionally self sufficient, resilient, and capable of handling life's pressures. Every unnecessary confession chips away at that perception, but every moment of calm, composed strength builds it exponentially. Finally, you must internalize this. Women respect men who respect themselves first. When you protect your emotional frame, you protect attraction. When you manage your secrets, timing, and disclosures with awareness, you control the emotional dynamic in a way most men will never understand. Attraction isn't random, it's intentional. And once you master this balance, women feel drawn to you, not just for what you say, but for the unspoken confidence that surrounds every word, every action, every glance. Now it's time to reveal the deeper psychological triggers behind why these secrets cause a woman to pull away, and how mastering them can flip the dynamic entirely in your favor. Attraction isn't just chemistry, it's a conversation happening in her subconscious. Every word you say, every secret you reveal, every vulnerability you show is filtered through a mental algorithm that evaluates safety, dominance, and emotional stability. When you reveal the wrong secret at the wrong time, that algorithm flags risk and she instinctively distances herself. Here's the nuance most men miss: women don't just respond to content, they respond to signal versus noise. If your words signal instability, lack of self reliance, or excessive neediness, no matter how genuine attraction, erotus, on the other hand, if your words signal self awareness, emotional control, and selective vulnerability, you deepen emotional connection. It's not about hiding yourself, it's about presenting the strongest, most magnetic version of yourself while carefully choosing which parts of your inner world to reveal and when. Think about it. The most attractive men are not the ones who confess every fear. They are the ones who control the narrative of their own lives. They share victories without arrogance, challenges without whining, and vulnerabilities without losing authority over their own emotional frame. Women sense this instinctively. It sparks admiration, desire, and trust. Conversely, indiscriminate confession, especially about things that make you appear weak, dependent, or uncertain, triggers an almost involuntary mental response to create distance. Here's a psychological truth most men overlook: women are wired to fall out of love logically, even when emotionally invested. That means the secrets you reveal give her evidence to justify stepping back. Financial insecurity, emotional dependence, doubts about the relationship, past failures, and critical thoughts about her appearance all send signals that she might be better off emotionally conserving herself elsewhere. Once she starts building that logical framework, emotional withdrawal accelerates. But there's good news. Once you understand this, you gain power. You can craft your words, timing, and actions to build attraction rather than destroy it. You can become the kind of man women instinctively trust, desire, and respect. The key is learning emotional discretion, sharing enough to be human, but withholding enough to remain strong, grounded, and desirable. Attraction is an architecture, not a floodgate, And men who master this subtlety rarely lose women to someone else. Remember, every secret is a tool or a weapon. The difference lies in your awareness, timing, and control. Master these, and women feel drawn to you effortlessly. Reveal them indiscriminately, and you'll watch attraction slip silently through your fingers, often without ever knowing who. By now, you should understand that attraction isn't built on honesty alone. It's built on strategic honesty. It's not about lying or manipulation. It's about mastering your emotional frame so that every truth you reveal enhances your magnetism instead of eroding it. The men who lose women don't fail because they love deeply. They fail because they lack awareness of how women process emotional information. The 5 secrets we've discussed aren't inherently dangerous. They're dangerous when shared without timing, context, or control. Here's the hard truth. Women subconsciously evaluate men for stability before anything else. Your frame, your confidence, your emotional consistency, all of it communicates whether you are someone worth investing in. Confessions of weakness, dependence, doubt, or judgment, even if they seem minor, can signal risk. And women instinctively respond to risk by withdrawing. Attraction isn't cruel. It's evolutionary. It's survival psychology at work. Once you grasp this, you stop seeing women's reactions as arbitrary and start seeing them as clear feedback on your emotional presentation. The key to reversing this dynamic is emotional ownership. You must control what you reveal, how you reveal it, and when. For example, acknowledging struggle while demonstrating resilience or showing vulnerability alongside competence flips the script. Instead of creating distance, it builds intimacy. Instead of triggering doubt, it inspires admiration. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reinforce the perception of strength, stability, and self-possession, the qualities women instinctively crave. Another crucial factor is selective disclosure. Not all truths need to be shared immediately. The most magnetic men share parts of themselves gradually, layering trust and intimacy over time. They allow women to see depth without exposing fragility prematurely. Secrets become bridges, not pitfalls. By mastering this, you become the man women feel safe with, desired by, and emotionally connected to. Not because you're perfect, but because you demonstrate mastery over yourself. Finally, understand this. Discipline in your self-expression equals power in attraction. The men who master the timing and content of their confessions hold the invisible lever of desire. They don't just speak, they influence, inspire, and lead emotionally. They create an environment where women feel drawn in, emotionally invested, and mentally secure all simultaneously. So the lesson is simple, yet rarely mastered. Never reveal these 5 secrets without awareness. Never let vulnerability undermine your frame. And always let emotional strength guide your honesty. Do this, and attraction will not just survive, it will thrive. You will become the man who commands attention, respect, and desire effortlessly. And women will be drawn to you in ways most men can only dream. Thanks for watching. If you found this video, please press the bell icon and subscribe to my channel, Modern Stoic. Thank you.